joining us today. I know that you have a high demands on your time, and we appreciate you choosing to invest your time into our students. My name is Amy Anderson. I work for Ector County ISD as the Avid and Post-Secondary District Director. And so we will start just by introducing yourselves. So we will start with the Marine branch. And if you can talk to us about who you are and what you kind of stand for, your current position, and your educational details.
Awesome. Yes, good morning, Ector ISD students. My name is Staff Sergeant Munguia with the Marines. I'm here with Sergeant Hernandez, who also represents the Marine Corps. Just talking a little bit about ourselves. We're both 8411 canvassing recruiters currently. Our job right now is to look for qualified, motivated individuals that are interested in joining the United States Marine Corps. A little bit of background about myself. Originally from San Antonio, Texas, been in the Marine Corps for about going on 8 years now. While I'm in the Fleet Marine Corps, my background's in supply and logistics. And from there, right now, I'm currently on recruiting duty, again, looking for those qualified individuals to join the United States Marine Corps. I'll turn it over here real quick to Sergeant Hernandez so she can tell you a little bit about herself as well.
Hi, good morning. Like Staff Sergeant Munguia said, my name is Sergeant Erica Hernandez. I've been in the Marine Corps about 7 years now. I am originally an aviation support mechanic and technician. I love my job. It was great getting to work with the helicopters and support equipment. I'm now a canvassing recruiter. And yes, I just loved every bit of it.
Yes, Amy, I think you're muted. Oh.
Yes, thank you. It's a common error these days.
Gotcha.
We'll jump over to the Navy. If you can tell us about yourself.
I'm Petty Officer Ray, Petty Officer First Class Ray. I'm with the United States Navy. I've been in now about 8 years, going on 9 in January. I'm currently on recruiting duty. My original job is operations specialist, first class. So I normally track ships and aircrafts and stuff like that out there in the fleet. I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee. What else? Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna Petty Officer Allen introduce herself as well.
Good morning, ECISD. Petty Officer Allen, also with the Navy. I normally work out of OHS, go Broncos. So I've been in the Navy for 11 years. My anniversary is actually this month, and I'm getting ready to enlist for another 4. I came in late in kind of life. I was a Texas LVN prior to, originally from Houston, Texas. Still a nurse, use it to teach emergency medicine, but my main job is weapon systems on ships. I maintain them, load them, unload them, and on occasion, I get to blow crap up. So my job, I love my job. Can't wait to get back at it. Currently on recruiting duty. I leave in January, unfortunately. Kind of fell in love with ECISD, but I also want to say thank you for allowing me into y'all's schools and allowing me to speak with y'all's students on a regular basis. It's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm a former Odessa Bronco myself. Our logo was 1994, say no more. So we appreciate your service in our schools and also today and to our country. Thank you so much. We'll be jumping over now to the Air Force branch. Can you speak with us right now safely?
Yes, ma'am, I can. I went ahead and pulled over, so.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm Tech Sergeant McGann, Air Force recruiter out for Midland. The Air Force recruiter, or the Odessa recruiter, is actually busy, so we have me step in. So, but I've been in Air Force. This month will be my 9-year anniversary. So been out in Midland, or I guess Permian Basin for almost 2 years. Got another 2 years left, and then we'll be leaving. Me and my wife and our daughter will be packing up and moving on. But yeah, we're recruiters, same thing as everyone else, looking for those motivated individuals who are looking to better their future. You know, not only that, but serve their country and do something better for themselves. So I mean, I joined the Air Force. My dad was in the Air Force for 20 years. So that was one of the big reasons why I ended up joining that branch. So yeah, guess that's it. Appreciate your time, students.
All right, thank you so much. And now we'll jump to the National Guard. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Staff Sergeant Mark Arnold with the Texas Army National Guard. I'd like to thank y'all for allowing us this opportunity. I've actually been in 20 years. I did 17 in the Marine Corps, aviation mechanic over there. Came over to the National Guard, been doing this for about 3. I've recruited both branches. The biggest deal for me is helping people find their goals in life, achieve their dreams and ambitions. One of the great things about the Texas Army National Guard is we are the superheroes of Texas. We serve our communities. So when natural disaster hits or anything else, we put on our suit, we get out there and we take care of them. Even helping the first responders during this past snowpocalypse. When they got stuck, we got them unstuck so they could get out there and take care of people. So changing lives and helping you get where you want to be.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sure there were a lot of thankful people during that snowpocalypse. All right, so now comes the fun part to where you can kind of tell us and our students, what is the best part of your job? What is the best part about working in the military branch that you are currently serving, and why it is the best? So who wants to jump in first?
Hey, if you don't mind, since I'm already on here, we'll do this. So the best part of my job coming over, when I came over to the Guard, they trained me to be a combat engineer. I got to learn to be able to blow stuff up. First time I ever played with C4, dynamite and everything else. But when I transitioned over to recruiting duty, it's the passion of helping people and taking care of people. I get to serve my community. I get to see the effects and the changes of the things I do. I've always been one of those individuals that I like to see the fruits of my labor, if you will. And so whenever I've been able to get out in communities, help them, again, with these past deals, the COVID and stuff, you get to see the change and the effect you have on people's lives. And then just the countless number of people that I've gotten to mentor and help them grow is probably the best and most rewarding part of what I do.
Awesome answer. Anybody want to follow that?
Yes, over here at the Marines, I would say, kind of echoing that same message, as a recruiter right now, I would say the best thing is being able to talk with students and really see what their goals are in life and really mentoring them to help them get there. As a recruiter, my job not only is to obviously recruit for the Marine Corps, but also just see where kids are trying to go and see if there's a way we can help them get there. Now, for the Marines, I would say one of the best parts about the Marine Corps is that brotherhood aspect, that sisterhood. As a Marine, we really pride ourselves in having that belonging, being a part of an organization where we're the few and the proud, and we really take pride in our Marines as individuals and really building them up as leaders. So we really emphasize those intangible things. Aside from all the benefits that we offer, we really focus on the leadership aspect, building up good quality leaders and individuals, but also making sure they're technically sound and returning as better citizens at the end of the day. You have anything to add? Okay.
Awesome. Good deal. Thank you. All right. Who's next?
Oh, how to follow that? That's kind of hard. Here in the Navy, we also want to represent a family, so to speak. The best part about my job is being overseas and being able to help other communities while we're out there. Whatever community we're in, that has been my most favorite. The training aspect for my job is pretty amazing because I learned computer science, mechanical, and electrical engineering being a fire controlman. So, I mean, you learn everything pretty much there is to know that has to do with weapon systems, but not only weapon systems, but power production and everything in between. So not only that, I work very closely with the OSs in order to be able to know what I'm shooting at, let alone, so I don't shoot some kind of friendly. But my job is just the training aspect is what keeps me well-rounded and gives me a most sense of purpose, both in and out of uniform.
Another big thing about the Navy is we're a support branch, man. We help support the other branches by clearing land for our Marines, Army as well. We also help take those guys to the places where they need to go to do that dirty work for us. We're gonna be shooting everything from our ships from miles away, so they're gonna handle all that groundwork for us. So that's why the military is most of us all combined, man. We all work together as a team. But that's just some of the better things. We're kind of away from a lot of the things that, whereas those other branches are more closer to that contact. So that's another good thing about the Navy.
All right, thank you.
All right, and Air Force will round this one up, I guess, huh? So now, Petty Officer First Class Ray hit it on the head. I mean, we might have different uniforms, but we're all part of the same team. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to with the Air Force. I mean, it's all part of being part of that team that's going to be there to support everyone, whether that means air superiority or the Space Force. That's the newest branch within the United States military, and we're trying to get that thing going too. So not only are we doing things, on Earth, but we're actually, doing satellite stuff in space as well too, with like intel and all that stuff. So, yeah, guess I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that's pretty much what it is.
All right. Well, thank you for adding that. So now we have we're protected from the depths of the ocean and now all the way into outer space. That's really amazing. We really appreciate all that you do in each sector and as a whole community and family of military. Our next question will be, what is the greatest challenges that you face and possibly the greatest dangers?
That's going to be a tough one because it really depends on one, what job you go into. But as far as challenges, for the National Guard, because we have a state mission as well as that federal mission, so we get to do everything all the other guys do on a global scale, but we have that local scale. And so when it comes to the dangers, we put ourselves at risk, to be honest with you, when it comes to these natural disasters, because we're going in areas to save people's lives, pull them out when the world is going in chaos and turmoil. But again, depending on your job is going to also determine the level of interaction you have with what's going on out there. So you can't really say, and I would say almost for all the services, because again, I did Marine Corps as well, that depending on your job is going to determine the extent of what you're going to wind up being put in danger wise. Like if you go into special operations for a service, obviously you're going to be in a higher risk level than say if you're doing administrative work. So as far as challenges, I'd really say that it's going to be the heart of the individual that we're dealing with, because a lot of individuals these days have a defeatist mentality. They have a hard time taking themselves out of a comfort zone and really trying to show someone that they're capable of so much more than what they've been told to, what the level they've been held to, or just even what their family has said. Hey, and I've dealt with kids, they're like, parents are telling the kids, you're not going to do any better than this. And, everybody has so much more potential than what they really got. And overcoming that on this duty is probably the biggest challenge that most of us face.
Anybody want to add to that?
Yes, definitely. Over here at the Marines, I would say, as far as the biggest challenges in the Marines and the danger aspect, just really echoing that. With the Marines, we prepare our pulleys and applicants for the mental and physical challenges that they're going to face while serving in the Marines. And the way we do that is starting off with recruit training, preparing them both physically and mentally to basically do their jobs out in the Fleet Marine Corps. And going back to that, a lot of it is dependent on your job field or your MOS. And I like to use the analogy of police officers. So for example, if you're a police officer, yes, you're going to be in more dangerous situations. But say, for example, you're working in dispatch, obviously you're going to be in a less dangerous position. And that's anywhere out in life. And that's really something we try to echo out to a lot of these students and just really explain to them. With the Marine Corps, there's a lot of different job opportunities other than just the infantry. And we're constantly preparing young adults for those challenges out in the Marine Corps, developing steadfast mental courage, learn to think quickly and decisively. And that's something you're going to get out of the Marines, is just being able to take on any of those challenges.
Yeah, I agree with everything they all said. It basically really depends on your job. My job is more one of the safer ones. Like I said, I'm an operations specialist. I track all the ships and stuff. So I'm really just sitting in a nice, cool space, you know, nice and comfy. Whereas she's out there loading stuff and shooting stuff. So it really depends on your job. One thing, gosh, I lost my train of thought. But say again.
I might add something. I understand that maybe you're physically safe, but the responsibility of possibly holding her life or being able to inform her that she's in danger, I'm sure is a little stressful.
It can be, and then we're communicating with a lot of other ships as well to make sure that they're getting out of the way of certain things and stuff like that. Communicating with the land guys, our pilots and stuff like that. Another job that I do that's kind of hard is I watch all the aircrafts that are flying through. So I'm helping navigate them because some of them look down, some look up when they're flying in pairs. So I'm doing the middle ground for those pilots. So being on the water, yeah, that's scary. You know, we can drown. No, I'm just kidding. We do swim, so, and we have life jackets. Some of us do.
Does the Air Force want to add anything?
Yes, man, we'll just echo off of what everyone else was saying. I mean, it's based off of your career and your job path on what you're doing in that specific branch, you know, as far as the level, their challenges you're going to face and the level of danger. Before I was an Air Force recruiter, I was a vehicle operator. So I drove convoys in Afghanistan and Iraq and stuff. Like I was actually, you know, living in the worst part of the world, you know, at 19, 20 years old. And so I got to experience that at a young age. Now there's other careers, just like, you know, Ray was saying, you know, in the Navy, same thing with the Air Force. There's other careers where the level of the challenge and the level of responsibility you're going to face is definitely less than say a vehicle operator or special warfare. So same thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, even though it was a little maybe concerning or that you have a cushy job. We appreciate you no matter what you're doing. So what do you feel like that your military branch or your current position provides that no other position could provide you?
So for the Texas Army National Guard, one of the things that we provide that the other services don't necessarily do is we have that flexibility to really kind of determine which way you're going to go. We can enlist young individuals as early as the age of 17 and juniors, and they're actually getting paid to go to school. And then they can train between their junior and senior year, go to boot camp, still get paid for their senior year showing up with us. But as far as flexibility, we actually have a joint operation with Egypt and Chile for humanitarian efforts. I got a young guy in Egypt right now. So we're able to kind of direct our career path a little bit more, and where we live, we have that flexibility that in the state of Texas, if you join a unit here and you decide that you're going to move down to South Texas or something else because better jobs, different school, as long as that unit has your job, you can transfer over. Or if you've held your MOS qualified, your job, for at least 18 months, you can actually switch your job in the Texas Army National Guard. Or if you decide to move out of state, I got a guy moving from Tennessee to Texas. He's moving from the Tennessee Army National Guard to the Texas Army National Guard. So he gets to transition with his service. He gets to continue on towards retirement and being able to serve a community. And again, as well as that worldwide operation. So we offer a lot of flexibility when it comes to guiding and directing your career path and your future. So I think that's one of the bonuses of being in the Guard.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else want to add to that or follow up?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, I would say one of the great things about the Marine Corps, as far as that separates us from the other branches, reiterating what I said before, a lot of those intangible things at a young age in the Marine Corps, we definitely invest in a lot of leadership aspects with young Marines so that they're able to take on more responsibility. Even at a young age in the Marine Corps, a lot of responsibility is placed on their shoulders, whether it be those young non-commissioned officers, corporals, and sergeants, where they're really responsible for ensuring the welfare of those Marines under their charge, as well as gaining that more responsibility. What I will say about that is I think the Marine Corps is really unique in that it puts young Marines in uncomfortable situations and forces them to grow as a person, really developing that maturity aspect, that leadership aspect. And going back into what the National Guard was speaking on as far as flexibility goes, with the Marine Corps, we do offer a lot of flexibility with our different components. So, for example, if you wanted to stay home, if you were really looking to just focus on school, we do offer a reserve program where if you wanted to stay in this West Texas area, you can actually go through the reserve program, start your education right away, and then also serve and become a Marine, gaining a lot of those intangible traits like responsibility, leadership, to set yourself up for success down the road. Have anything else to add to that, Sergeant Hernandez?
So,
Okay.
if you don't know what intangible means, it means things you can't touch. Like, I mean, you can get a college education, you can get money, you can get benefits, but the Marine Corps does offer the intangibles, things that you have to earn, things that are not given, you have to work for. And we definitely pride ourselves in that. The challenge, self-confidence, the poise, just these things that we teach you, from day one coming into this office and speaking with us. And it's just a very good thing to work on and be successful in life. Those are traits that you need.
A couple of things that separates the Navy from the other branches. I'll reiterate, yes, every branch also gives good training. Our brother branch here, or sister branch, however you want to refer to it. The thing that separates the Navy from some of the other jobs is all of our jobs transition into the civilian world. So if you're an OS, you can go work for the aviation, like a major airport, traffic controlling, or our medical will transfer from medical into the civilian medical. All that training is great. We also have a reserve component that gives you the opportunity to go and get your normal training, a regular job like engineering or fire controlman or operations specialist, and then you come back and you go to school with all that training, which also gives college credits for all of that training. The other thing that separates us is the Navy has a great travel program. I have been in 15 countries, and I did that in less than 3 years. So, and you're putting into port visits, you're there for a week, week and a half, 2 weeks, depending on the ship, depending on what's going on. And it's just amazing. You only have to work like 1 or 2 days in that port visit, and the rest of the time you're out with your compadres, seeing things and doing tours and just enjoying the aspects of every culture we get to involve ourselves with. And most deployments are 6 to 9 months long. So you hit 4 to 8 ports, depending on the ship, per deployment, and it's just pretty amazing. My first deployment, actually, I got asked, do I work at all? Because we were in 3 ports in 4 weeks. So it was pretty amazing.
Awesome. Great opportunities.
Yeah, with the Air Force, I mean, I don't want to speak on these other branches because I don't know what they do, right? I only know what the Air Force does.
Right.
So, but I mean, one of the cool things about us, right? So we have the Community College of the Air Force. So any training you do, whether it be boot camp, basic training, or your tech school where you're going to learn your job, it's all accredited. It's all going to transition into college credits. All right. And it's going to transition eventually into an actual associate's degree from the Community College of the Air Force. Right. So it's expected of you to be in the Air Force. All right. It's one of the things that we're proud of is that while you're serving in the Air Force, you're going to go to school. That's one of those things. So short and sweet.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I think, do y'all want to share your screen right now? I guess they enabled that function.
Yes, Amy, sorry about that. I was just checking if it was working or not. But I can share it a little bit later for your next question and definitely kind of give it a little bit.
Okay, excellent. So you've all talked about training, boot camp, those kind of things. So our students want to know, like, how long is boot camp or basic training? What does that kind of look like? You may not be able to tell us everything or exact because it may differ on different years. Maybe in COVID it looks different. Who knows? I don't know those things. So just talk to us about basic training, boot camp. How long is it typically? And then do they get to choose when they start their boot camp or once they are recruited? Basically, they do as they're told. Let us know.
All right. So for the Guard, we do Army boot camp. It is 10 weeks, and then you wind up doing your follow-on school. So your length of training is going to depend upon your job. During recruit training, we teach you rifle marksmanship. We build that confidence, kind of like, all the other services we're talking about. That's what our training is about. It's building you up. It's getting you to the standard and really pushing you outside your comfort zone and showing you that you're capable of so much more. It's building that confidence and that knowledge, that history, because like all the services, we're all steeped in history. I mean, the National Guard, we're the oldest service out of all the services. We were before the country began. We were the Minutemen beforehand. We've been in every major battle that the United States has been in. Like I said, we have that state and that federal service. When it comes to choosing, there's some flexibility because we have split training programs, again, for that junior to be able to go their summer and then finish up once they graduate. Same thing for our college students. So we got seniors that are going to graduate. They can do recruit training over the summer. And as long as they're accepted into that college, they can do that split training program, go into their college semesters, and really start focusing on that school right now, getting it done, and then working and transitioning back once they hit that summer semester after their freshman year. So there's flexibility in what we do. All the stuff, again, just like the other services, that they count towards your college credit. So it's a great way to get a jump on what's going on. So you're not spending more money for that college. And then for us, the great thing when it comes to that flexibility is as soon as you finish recruit training, you get your federal benefits as far as the like the tuition assistance and all the other stuff, GI Bill, you rate that. And then once you finish your job training, you start rating state educational benefits. That's something that we offer that the other services don't offer because we're a state entity as well as a federal entity. So again, 10 weeks basic training. And then it really depends on what job you have. Like my job, it was a 2-week crash course in blowing stuff up. Whereas infantry goes a little bit longer. If you're going to be chemical, nuclear, biological, radiological specialist, CBRN, then it's like a 14-week course for that because it's very in-depth with what you got to learn.
Thank you. Who wants to tell us next?
Yes, over here at the Marines, Staff Sergeant Munguia again. So for recruit training in the Marines, I like to brag and say that it's definitely one of the most challenging out of all the branches. And the reason I say that is because when you join the Marines, you don't automatically earn that title. That title is earned, and it's earned at recruit training. And that's really where you're going to be tested both mentally and physically to your limits. And again, like I was saying before, what's happening is you're going to be meeting that iconic drill instructor. They're going to break you down and build you back up so that you can be more resilient. You can be mentally tougher and ultimately be that Marine that's able to do their job out in the Fleet Marine Corps. So what I'll do now is I'm going to share my screen and kind of break down exactly what the training is. First and foremost, the training is going to be 13 weeks long. It's broken down into 4 phases where you're learning about marksmanship, basic close order drill, and then also learning about what it takes to be a Marine, both physically, mentally, learning about Marine Corps history, and getting all those fundamentals. So I'll go ahead and
right now. Okay, so you're gonna share now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
Can y'all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So basically breaking it down, this is the recruit training matrix, and you can see here it's broken down into 4 phases. I'll just scroll down, and here you're learning about the basics and fundamentals of being a Marine. During receiving week, you meet that iconic drill instructor. Throughout phase 1, you're going through the physical rigors of training, and it's all incremental. So don't be intimidated. We're both preparing you to go to recruit training, and then while at recruit training, you're actually being built up. Phase 2 consists primarily of swim week. You go through close order drill throughout. And then phase 3, that's when you start learning about basic marksmanship. You actually get qualified with that M16, and going through phase 4, that's kind of the culminating process in the Marines where you actually earn that title, United States Marine, and are indoctrinated into that culture of being a Marine. So I'll go ahead and switch back over.
That's a great visual. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So going back into the flexibility piece, so for the Marines, you won't actually ship to recruit training until after you graduate high school. So a lot of fears that people have is as soon as you sign up, you're going to have to ship off to recruit training. That's not the case. Actually, a lot of our shipping dates are pushed out to November because of all the applicants that we do have. So right now is a really important time to start talking with that recruiter, talking with us directly, and really engaging us to see if this is something that you're interested in, so that later down the road you can actually go ahead and get a shipping date that best suits you. And we definitely work with our applicants to get them the shipping date that works for them. And also that job opportunity is really dependent on talking to us now so that you can get that lined up down the road.
All right, thank you for that information. And who would like to share with us next? Okay.
All right. So to piggyback off what the Marines just said, you can't leave until you get your diploma. So if you sign up with us in the beginning or during your school year, you won't be able to leave until after you get your diploma, which is right now, I think we just got one that just joined. He don't leave until September or July. The good thing about that we can do is that when you do go to MEPS, you pick your job and you're picking your ship date. So it comes attached with your job that you're choosing, because they have certain openings for their school times and stuff like that for when they do go out to A school and stuff like that. For boot camp, our boot camp is 8 weeks long. And then just like everyone else, it depends on how long your school is. For our nuclear program, it's a 2-year school. For just some of the basic jobs, regular jobs, like my job was only a month long to A school. So it depends based on whatever your job is and how technical that training is for that job. And also during boot camp, they're split up. So like our spec war guys, that the guys that are trying out for SEALs, SEAL, SWIC, Air, EOD, and stuff like that, they are split into a different division. So their training is a little bit more different than what the regular Navy personnel's training is. Whereas we're doing more technical stuff, getting college credits, a few college credits when you get out of boot camp. Team buildings, we do a swim call during that. So you don't have to know how to swim in the Navy. That's the only time you have to know how to swim is during boot camp. But after you can try up to 17 times. So one of my other recruiters took, but you have a long time. They help you. They have like a little kiddie pool next to it. So to help you guys swim if you don't know how to swim. And also during our delayed entry program, we also have ties with the Comms Aquatic out here in Midland, our OC, the pool in OC, to go work on your swim as well. Also, you'll do your phys. I don't mind bragging saying that we don't have the hardest boot camp. It's like I said, I don't mind that. You have to be able to run 1.5 miles. You have to be able to do a certain amount of push-ups in 2 minutes. You got a certain amount of time to do your plank. So it's a lot less stressful. But I mean, it can be a little hard. It depends on the person though. So that's all I got about it.
All right, thank you. Air Force, who would like to share?
Okay. Hi, ma'am. Sergeant Paulino, Air Force recruiter out here in Odessa. So Air Force basic training, currently it's 7.5 weeks long. You know, it's definitely a question we get asked a lot. How hard is basic? A lot of people definitely worry about that stuff. Yeah, basic training is going to be challenging. You know, I always tell everyone who's joining, you know, you're going to be in a brand new environment. You're not around family. You're not around friends. You're plucked out of life as you know it and placed in this environment where you're being yelled at and everything. The purpose of basic training, it's not to belittle you in any way. It is to break you down, kind of, and build that core foundation with the Air Force. And based off of that, you do come out a lot more resilient, motivated, confident in yourself and everything. But 7.5 weeks long, you learn everything from qualifying on an M16. You know, you learn physical fitness, nutrition, all sorts of stuff. You actually get 9 college credits for basic training with the Air Force. So it's all pretty much the same, you know, with every branch and everything. But yeah, pretty much it.
All right, thank you. So we've talked about the basic training, so we're kind of working backwards. We did have a question asking, what are the requirements? And then many or most of our seniors in high school have just taken the ASVAB. And so they're wanting to know, like, what should they have scored? How does that play into the requirements to be able to be recruited? So can you talk to them about that?
All right, for the guard, the bare minimum score is a 31. Now, you have to understand, and for those people that never dealt with the ASVAB before, the scoring system is not like it is when you're taking a school test in school, where most people are like, oh man, I got a 31, that's no good. So anything from a 31 to a 49 is considered a B. A 50 to a 99 is an A. You can't score 100 on that thing, even if you tried. Now, the higher you score is going to open up more job opportunities. But when it comes to bonuses and stuff, that 50 or higher is that's what you're going to need. If you're looking into bonuses, for right now, we have 12,500 for specific jobs. But what it really breaks it down is those line scores, because that ASVAB is an aptitude test, and it really helps you figure out where your strengths and your weaknesses are. Because if you're not mechanically inclined, you're probably not going to want to go be a vehicle mechanic, you know. But if you do hire in electronics or whatever else, then obviously those jobs are going to be more preferential because you're not going to struggle as much in doing it. That's not to say that you can't move into these other jobs, but you have to be able to have the line scores for a particular job for it to be open and available to you from the get-go. Now, once you're actually in the service for us, you can actually retake that ASVAB. So say you come in, you become a 12 Bravo combat engineer, and you're like, you know what, I really want to go do intel, but I didn't quite have the scores. So you can retake the ASVAB, and if once you get the scores for that, same thing with officer programs or whatever else, and as long as you get the score, you can actually transition over to that particular job. So again, there's some of that flexibility with what's going on. That's really what that ASVAB is going to do for you.
All right, thank you. Anybody have anything to add to that? Or are the qualifications different for your military branch?
So yes, ours just changed. You can now score 26 and join the Navy now. It's still coming down the pipeline, but as of right now, that's a new word that we just got today, that you can score 26 and still get in. But like he said, a 50 and above is better. You're definitely going to get more job opportunities. And the same, once you're in, you can retake the ASVAB if you want to make your score higher or anything like that, or trying for a different job, you can retake it. They just send you to the good thing is they send you to a 2-week course that you can do while you're in, and then you can retake your ASVAB afterwards. So yeah, it's all, but other than that, it's basically the same.
Great. How about for the Marines? Is it a different requirement or score?
Yes, ma'am. So what I like to say to a lot of students is that the best way to know if you're qualified is to actually talk with the recruiter. We can actually talk with you on the phone and go through some screening questions with you to let you know if you're going to be qualified. The key thing for the qualification process, it's like everyone else was saying, it's similar across the board. You want to be both mentally qualified with that ASVAB, both physically qualified through a medical exam that we do through the processing station, and then morally qualified, meaning we go through and talk a little bit about your past history, whether you had any law involvement, stuff like that, that we really can do on the phone to go through a lot of that screening. So if you truly want to know if you meet those qualifications, the best way to do it is actually to talk with the recruiter. And I'll go ahead. Amy, are the students able to see what we type in this chat box here?
They are not able to see that, but we can capture it and put it on our site. Okay,
not a problem. So what I will say is for students, my cell phone number is going to be 432-307-1652. And like I said, the best way to learn if you qualify is actually talking with the recruiter. Oh, that's Sergeant Hernandez's phone number, actually. But I'll go ahead and with my phone number. Yeah, same thing applies. Just speaking with that recruiter and learning firsthand if you're qualified. I will say with the Marines, we just want to know with the ASVAB, the score is 31 and above. Same thing applies. 50 and above opens more job opportunities for you. And then what I like to tell students is don't stress about the physical aspect of it. We do have a delayed entry program as well, where us as a recruiter gets you both physically and mentally prepared for recruit training. And with that being said, do you have anything to add, Sergeant Hernandez? Okay.
Okay, all right. So Air Force, can you give us your requirements?
So the minimum score to join the Air Force right now is 31. The one thing I do get a lot is, I ain't gonna lie, when students in high school take that ASVAB, a lot of times they're not taking it too serious, right? So even if you don't have that minimum qualifying score, definitely reach out to a recruiter of whatever branch you're thinking about joining, because we could help you retest. And then once again, it's gonna come down to what you've been hearing a lot, line scores. So line scores are gonna determine the career field you could be placed in. But in addition to just, careers in the military, the ASVAB, you can always use that, talk to a recruiter, because we could help point you in the direction of, what you might want to study for in college or jobs outside of the military. So the ASVAB is a very useful tool. So definitely reach out to us. If you have that score sheet, we could help give you some ideas.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for clarifying that. I know that our students are anxiously awaiting their scores, are currently right now looking at their scores to see. Yes, did you have something? Yes.
I would like to iterate that when I'm speaking with students, I always encourage them to do the research on all the branches due to the fact that not all of them are going to fit into the Navy. Not all of them are going to fit into the Army, the Marines, whatever. You know, I encourage them to find what their best fit is. Because, I mean, if you get into a branch and you're not happy with it, you can go from branch to branch while you're in, you know, but it's still do your research, you know, find out what fits you best, find out where you're most comfortable. That's what I tell all of the students I sit down and speak with, because I want them to find what makes them happy.
Great advice. Great advice. Thank you for that. All right, so we've talked about boot camp, then we talked about requirements. So now I want you to think about maybe your experience when you were in middle school or high school. What subjects would have better prepared you or did prepare you for your current position? What should our students right now be exploring or really paying attention and putting their efforts into if they are considering joining the military?
So when it comes to the high school, I mean, obviously you want to pay attention anyway because everybody wants to get that diploma. Really, it's going to be your math and your English classes because that's what's going to really assist you on the score in the ASVAB. The rest of it, the aptitude, and unfortunately, a lot of schools have taken out those career type classes like the mechanics. I remember when I went, we used to have an auto shop class. We had the woodworking class. So some schools still have them. A lot of schools have taken those out, and it's really hard to get in there if you have that interest in mechanics. So that's why that aptitude test, there's certain things, yeah, you can get an ASVAB book and try and study, but a lot of it, you either know it or you don't because it's a passion that you have. And that's where that career exploration really goes in. So I would say if you're really into electronic stuff, look into those computer classes that they have. Follow your passions. Don't let really anybody else kind of dictate the direction you want to go, because I know when I was a kid, I was always told, hey, no, you're going to go do this. Every parent wants their kid to go off and be a lawyer or a doctor. And let's be real, there's some people, they would just rather go design something. They'd rather do something with their hands and build. Only you really know where your passions lie. And if you don't know, that's where talking to one of us recruiters and we start introducing you to different job fields, we start introducing you to different pieces of life where you're like, hey, that sounds interesting. Because just think about how many people gone to college and they start with one degree plan and then they start talking to their buddy and they're like, oh, wait, you can do that? Oh, man, I want to go do this. And so they switch their degree plan 6-7 times because they get introduced to more things out there in life. Explore around, look at what you have available. I know you get elective classes. Do something you're passionate about, but take one where you're not quite sure what it is, because school's free right now. You're not paying for it, but it'll open your eyes to what's out there, what's available. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. That's probably the biggest thing is some people, they just stick to themselves and they don't go ask. Don't be afraid to go talk to your teachers. Go find an adult, talk to your mom's best friend, whatever. Hey, what do you do? And then what did it take for you to get there? If it sounds like it's interesting to you, because with each different career path, there are going to be different things that are going to get you where you're going. So I don't think any of us can be like 100% take this class besides the math and the Englishes and the basics that you need to graduate. Because until we know what you're passionate about, it's really hard to guide you and lead you in that particular deal.
That's great advice. Great advice. So just to share with you guys, and then also to reiterate with our students, in case you haven't heard it, the Access platform you all have access to, and it has over 100 different careers and growing daily. It also has career champions, so you can ask your questions to them, ask about opportunities to explore those careers. The military branches, each one of them is on there. So if you, that's where we will put your contact information. And so if you want to reach out to one of these recruiters, that's where you can find their information if you can't find it anywhere else. So great. I'm glad to see that the work that we're doing in the ISD in Ector County is aligning with the advice that you are giving as well.
And if you
Anybody
visit,
else?
well, I was going to say, if you visit the sites of all these services, I know for nationalguard.com, like you can actually look into different career fields and they'll tell you on there really kind of what's expected, what that particular career field is going to entail. And then if you kind of align it with your ASVAB, because when they do that career exploration on there, that in there, it tells you, hey, these are the things you might want to be looking into, or you don't necessarily meet the requirements for this job, but if you start going this way, that ASVAB career exploration tool, and I know they tied it to, they have it online also. Great tool to use when you're trying to figure out where you want to go.
Great, thank you so much. Anybody else have anything else to add? Pretty much covered it, didn't he? Okay, all right. So if no one has anything else to add, we're going to move to the next question. And I'm just checking to make sure we don't have any student questions. They have been coming in periodically. So, okay, so now we've kind of talked about what to do to get there. We would like for you to talk to us about your current position and where you see yourself in 5 years, and throw in a little bit of what type of technology are you using and how has that changed?
All right. Well,
sorry.
no, somebody else wants to start. Go for it. I'll let the Navy
go.
Go ahead.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Well, I am actually getting ready to go from enlisted to the officer side. So there is a program that you don't have to have a degree in order to go from enlisted to officer. So I'm going into what's called the warrant officer program. And that way I'm going to promote my career even more, and I'll be able to have more sway, and be able to help sailors when they do finally come into the services. I'll be able to help them more and everything, and how technology has changed. In 10 years, the weapon systems advance greatly, because obviously everything is always changing and growing and moving on. Like I worked on, my first system I ever worked on was called RAM, Rolling Airframe Missile. And it started out as a Block 0. That's how they classify the missiles. So it went from Block 0 to currently what we're using is Block 2 Charlies. So meaning the technology within these systems is able to be more accurate and less likely to break, I guess would be a great way to describe it. And also they're using a lot less circuit cards in my system are circuit boards. So they went from having 42 circuit boards to having 10. So the advancement in technology is always taking place, and I'm always in school trying to keep up with this. So we're always being sent to school to learn more stuff, to learn different systems, to learn how the upgrades affect and tie in to every other system with the ship. And there's also great advancement abilities within that too. So hopefully that answered some of the question.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck. Thank you.
All right. So 5 years. I'm actually back in school. Changed my major many times, but now I got to figure it out. I'm working on getting my ministerial degree. I plan on moving over to the chaplain corps, becoming an officer that way. My passion for mentoring, leading, and helping young soldiers, Marines, students, you name it, anybody out there. To me, that was one of the best ways that I could continue my service and go through. Still working on that teaching degree so I can also get into the schools and try and help mentor that way, because I know that schools are hurting for male role models in a lot of the districts. So I know that that's going to be another great way to help. As far as technology, like they said, everything is continually progressing. In our Humvees, we now got sophisticated tracking and communication devices. It went from the old radio, which is still a backup, to, hey, you can type text and everything else through the integrated computer system that they have, and they can figure out where you are and tell you where to go. So really the computers, just like game systems are evolving, everything in the service is evolving just as well. So that's really where it's going is computers. There's a lot of stuff that we like to still teach the old ways. It's kind of like when you're shooting the rifle. I know that a lot of people went to sights, the scope. Well, we still like to teach iron sight as well, because just like technology breaks, hey, scopes break too. And if you don't know the old school way to do something, you're kind of dead in the water. So we still do old school as well as the new school. And as everything advances, hey, you're going right back to school, getting those courses to get familiarized with it. We teach you. And so you don't have to try and figure it out by yourself.
Wonderful. Anything else to add from the Marines or the Air Force? Okay.
Yes. So where I see myself in 5 years, I'll be switching from active duty to reserves. So I'll be a reserve Marine. My husband is actually a veteran Marine, so he's out right now. And we'll be, settling down in my home, Corpus Christi, Texas, and buying a house out there. I'll be completing my human resource management degree and then moving on to my master's and doing I'll be using that post 9/11 GI Bill, and that housing will be being paid for. So a lot of Marine Corps years to come in the reserve still, because I want to continue it and continue leading Marines.
Wonderful, thank you. And in the Air Force?
So prior to recruiting, I was an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force. Technology has definitely changed a lot. I've worked on our older aircraft, like some of our helicopters, where the instruments used on those were plain and simple. You had an instrument, a transmitter, and an indicator, and now with all like the newer airplanes, F-22, F-35, a lot of those are controlled by computers. They're all fly-by-wire. So a lot of times when you're going out and fixing those, you're not actually changing a part, you're changing a computer. And a lot of these computers are, $250,000 worth. So technology has definitely changed. Where I see myself in 5 years, through my work experience in the Air Force, I was able to get my Federal Aviation Aircraft Mechanics license. So that's one option I'm looking at once I do get out in a couple of years, possibly working for an airline. I'm currently in my master's courses. My degree is going to be in human resources. So that's another option. Not sure, but yeah, in a couple of years, I'll be retired from the Air Force, most likely working with an airline. That's one thing. It's a pretty good career. So something I like as well.
Awesome. All right. Petty Officer Ray, did you want to add to that, or you want us to move on?
She kind of skipped me, but
Hey.
I'm planning on switching over to the reserve side as well. I just enjoy being at home with my children and stuff like that. So I do plan on switching over to reserve and finishing school. I'm currently using my tuition assistance right now and getting my psychology degree. So I'm gonna keep working for that, working towards that. Like she said, I'm gonna use my GI Bill as well. So that's kind of my goal. My wife she didn't join, so she ain't got nothing to worry about.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing what you plan to do in the future. It has been inspiring to talk to you over this last hour, each and every one of you. It's also been inspiring to see the partnership amongst all the branches. I don't know that that's an idea that our students have, so it's beautiful to see that there is an entire family that's broken into just branches. So it's like one big family tree and you're just a branch of that. So that just clicked with me. So wonderful that y'all might have intentionally done that. I'm not sure. So our last question leading into this is that many students think that school's over, but each of you talked about being basically a lifelong learner. So went to school, you went to boot camp, you went to training, and now you're pursuing further education, further learning by different methods, and you have further goals after being in the military. I know that many of you have a lifelong commitment here. So you're actually serving a full life and then retiring and doing something else. What is the minimum? And then in addition to that, what is the minimum that a student can sign up for all the way to a lifetime commitment, which I think once you get into it and it fits, then that's just where you're called to be. what are the traditions that you would like to share with our students? And that will be our last question. So we'll start with the Air Force first, because typically you've been last. So we'll go ahead and start with you first.
All right, so that was a big question. Our initial enlistment is 4 or 6 years, and everyone they have that option to decide what they want to do. They can end up making it a career, going up to 20 years to retire. And so if at the end of your 4 years, you liked it, you want to stay in, you could just re-enlist, sign up for another 4 or another 6. You also have the option to cross-train. Let's say you liked the Air Force lifestyle and everything, but you want to try another career, you could do that as well. So yeah. What else did you ask? Like I said, that was a long question.
Yeah. All right. So it's about the commitment. So the minimum commitment to a lifelong commitment. And then what are the traditions that you'd like to share with our students? And maybe you may have many traditions. What is your favorite tradition if you have to pick one?
I'm not sure. Like I said, it's a culture. We definitely, every branch forms that bond with each other when you're working with your coworkers, just the things we're doing, the missions we're placed in, and then accomplishing those missions. We definitely form a bond with each other. So I got a lot of buddies, we've been together, and I've had sushi I was stationed in Japan for 9 years, ate sushi with buddies there, then we went to Turkey, deployed to Turkey, and had Turkish food out there. So you definitely form that brotherhood that lasts for a lifetime. So I guess, not sure if you could say that's a tradition, but it's definitely a benefit. A lot of these guys I haven't seen in years, but we still talk every day. So.
Wonderful. Okay. With the Marines, do you have something to share?
Yes, ma'am. So you can do 4-year or 5-year are the enlistment times. And as for traditions, well, in the Marine Corps, we celebrate our Marine Corps birthday, November 10th, 1775. It's a huge day for Marines. It's all of our birthday. We got 2 birthdays. So we get together, we break bread. In other words, we eat a big, nice meal. We go to a fancy venue. Some Marines go to Vegas, some go to the fanciest hotel in town. And then you have the most senior Marine and the most junior Marine. So that means the oldest Marine and the youngest Marine. They perform a cake cutting ceremony where that oldest Marine passes the cake to the youngest Marine. And it symbolizes the tradition of how the Marine Corps is going to continue on and on throughout the generations. That's my favorite.
Oh, sounds like a great time and also very sentimental. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So Navy.
So yeah, our contract's the same, 4 to 6 years, and then however long you decide to stay. One tradition, we have a couple of traditions that we like to do. And one is crossing the line. I'm gonna let her kind of explain it more because I've done it, but she's done more than once.
So my favorite tradition is actually the crossing of the line ceremony. And it is basically when you come into the Navy, you're known as a pollywog. Okay. And so on a ship, when you cross the equator, you become what's called a shellback. And during this, all the shellbacks, the current shellbacks on the ship dress as pirates. And we pretty much initiate the wogs to the shellback side. I am what's known as a golden shellback. So I cross the international date line and the equator at the same time. We have other ones that are blue noses. They've been to the Arctic. We have ones that are known as emerald. That's on the East Coast side where they do the date line and the equator, and still dressing as pirates and getting hosed down and exercising and just enjoying, the outdoors. And then we have a huge barbecue on the flight deck afterwards and hold a swim call, whereas we jump off the ship into the ocean and swim. And it's a great time. It's a time for us to unwind between missions and between whatever it is we're doing at the time. So, but that was my personal favorite tradition. I have done that actually 3 times. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. With the National Guard.
All right. So the National Guard, and I'm going to kind of go back to something that for all the services, I want to let you know, generally your initial contract, it's 8 years. It doesn't matter what it is. Now, the time frames that most people are talking about is the time what we consider like your active service. You're actually doing your job. You're doing what it is. And the rest of it's called inactive ready reserve time, which means you're not necessarily serving, but if you're needed, you can get called back up. That happens during your first contract. So what we have is the minimum you can do is called a 3x5. 3 years you're serving, 5 years inactive ready reserve time. We do 5 and we do 6. I usually recommend 6x2 to anybody that's serving. And the reason I say that is because it allows you to maximize your benefits. Not only that, especially for the juniors, and you're going to do something a little bit longer if you join, just because your first couple of years, you're preparing for training when you're doing what we call recruit sustainment platoon, where you're coming with me 1 week in a month, you're getting paid, making about $200 for that drill weekend while you're going to school. We're preparing you for that recruit training. We're preparing you for the rigors of what's going on or your job school, but you're not really getting out there to do your job, because during that time, you can't be activated for these cool missions, helping change people's lives, restore the community, going overseas, any of that stuff that you can volunteer to do. So you want to be able to enjoy the things that you're doing. You want to be able to use those skills that you're getting trained to do. And once you're trained up and you're doing that, you can go get that job in the civilian sector. So say you become a diesel mechanic or a heavy equipment operator, and you can get a job with one of these road companies or TxDOT making about $35 an hour, because we gave you the skills, we gave you the certification, we gave you the training. But until you really get to use it, why would you really want to do less? Now, again, depending on the lifestyle, what you're trying to do, we do offer different contract sizes just to be able to do that. But understand that your first contract, no matter what you do, you have your service time and you have your inactive ready reserve time. And so from the time you join the Guard, raise that hand, I join, you are a service member and you are doing that initial time, even as a junior or a senior. From the time you do that, you are a service member, have an ID, and you are taking care of that first portion of your contract before you transition to the inactive ready reserve, or you re-enlist and continue on with your service. And understand, no matter what you do, any of the services, for those that do choose to serve, hey, I appreciate you. You're doing something far and above and beyond what most people are willing to do to serve their community, serve their country. And I wish everybody the best for it. So whether you do that 3 years or you do 20, get something from that service, because understand at some point, so you're 17, you join, you retire by the time you're 37, you still have a whole lot of your life ahead of you. And you can utilize those skills that you've obtained from that service to continue on, work to retirements, make extra money so you can enjoy the later years of your life. Why not?
Great answers. Great answers. Thank you all for sharing with us today. I think that our students will be enlightened if they're joined today or if they'll be watching this at a later time. That's all that I have for you. I guess as a final, if you just want to give a final word of advice and sign off, we appreciate you so much. We thank you for your service, and we are here if we can ever be of service to you.
All right. Well, hey, this is Staff Sergeant Martirano with the Texas Army National Guard. Visit nationalguard.com, learn a little bit more. Give me a call, 806-632-0695. I got a Facebook page too. Just look up Texas Army National Guard recruiter, Staff Sergeant Martirano. That's me. Hey, I'm here to help you out anyway. Anything you want to do, we got this.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant.
I'm Petty Officer Ray.
Yes,
I just want to say thank you all for coming on today and watching this. You can feel free to hit me up anytime as well. My number is 432-234-0692, or Petty Officer Allen, and I'll let her give her number and stuff out. But or go on to Navy.com, and there's online ways that you can, do that. If you don't want to ask us yet, but come and see us. We're in the Midland office. So we're not in Odessa, we're not in the mall, but come see us out here in Midland, 4706 North Midkiff, Suite 7 Tac 4. Go Navy. Go ahead and can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm Petty Officer Allen, 432-209-1059. OHS, I am always almost in Corral 6. Come hit me up anytime. I'm there most days, minus EOCs and other fun stuff going on. If not, as Petty Officer Ray, hit us up, out here in Midland. We're working on getting our Odessa office back open. If it would be easier for y'all to come see us there, give me a call. I'll meet you over there and we'll take care of things and have a nice conversation. Or if you don't like getting face-to-face, my email, I'll give my email address and you can get my email and everything else from most teachers at OHS. Go Broncos, go Navy.
Thank you. Marines?
Yes, thank you for having us again. My name is Staff Sergeant McGill with the Marines, here with Sergeant Hernandez. Yes, definitely. If you want to contact us, the best way to get information about the Marines is actually sitting down with a recruiter. My number is 432-307-2470. And also request information from Marines.com. You can actually request information and we'll definitely provide that to you. And then Sergeant Hernandez, the best number to reach her at is 432-307-1652. Thank y'all so much for having us, and I appreciate y'all's time.
You
You
forgot
can
somebody
also follow
behind
me
you.
on Instagram. Sorry.
Got a special guest behind you.
Oh, yeah. This is
Hey, I'm Elliott with the United States Army. I just got out of a meeting. Sorry I couldn't make it today. You can reach us at 432-318-0155 to the Army to get more information. Also go on goarmy.com. That'll help as well. Please feel free to reach out to any one of us at the branches because we're here to help you guys, and that's all we're here for.
Thank you. Air Force?
All right, airforce.com, Sergeant Paulino. You can find me at the mall, 432-352-0762. Once again, thank you for having us all. Hopefully you guys look into this. Definitely use any branch of the military as a stepping stone. Lots of opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you all. Students, reach out if you can use assistance or even have questions. Maybe you're not sure. It doesn't take a commitment. Just reach out, educate yourself, get familiar with all branches, and then make the best choice for you. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for your service and for your time today. Thank you all.